I'm putting this in the front. I hope you get to listen to the rest of the video. There was a part where I had mentioned the locations of the fireworks. It was hard for me to get because I was trying to get a map, but because of security reasons, I can't get the map. But I can tell you more specifics than I had before. So we have we have 8 barges, the GPS coordinates. The general layout of the 10 launch sites is confirmed as follows. The Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool. Launch tubes were positioned along the length of the pool beyond Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument. The West Potomac Park. Ground based launch sites were located in the park area south of the reflecting pool near the Kennedy Center and the George Washington Memorial Parkway. And then we have the Potomac River barges. The 8 floating platforms were anchored in a line along the river, stretching from just north of the 14th Street Bridge near West Potomac Park up to the area between the Arlington Memorial Bridge and the Theodore Roosevelt Bridge. So now you know. I don't know anything about DC or where these locations are, but if you're there, my moment here is the reflecting pool, the Kennedy Center. We've been talking about Theodore Roosevelt a lot. All of these places are places he's messing around. So enjoy the rest of the show, and I will talk to you guys super duper soon. Hey guys, it's Trinity, and you're listening to Esoteric Truth Radio. So, as I said on the 3rd, that I was going to take a break on the 4th. I didn't want to do anything. I knew that if anything went wrong or if there was something that was happening, you would hear it, and I didn't need to be someone else to come in and be repetitive. So, I wanted to wait, and I want to talk to you about something that I've been discussing for quite a while, and I'm going to put all the pieces together. And I'm hoping that you have an opportunity to listen to some of my prior shows, especially the recent ones, with me discussing that the bunker is still being built. Based on yesterday, I think it's something bigger than that. So, you already know that the weather was acting all wonky and people had to keep getting evacuated and then they were bringing people back. It was this, oh my God, it was an absolute shit show. But I kept trying to figure out, I was like, I'm going to wait. I wanted to know what happened with the fireworks. So I'm going to be doing some math. I'm a nerd, but I sure as hell am not a math nerd. So you're going to hear some stuff and it's going to make sense to some of you and to some of us, including myself. I really don't get it. So this is what I'm going to do. And I always let you guys know up front. Some of this stuff I'm going to use DuckDuckGo AI because it'll give me links and it'll explain it to me a little bit easier so I don't sound really dumb. Um, so I'm just giving you a heads up. Now, whenever you use DuckDuckGo AI, they do have links. So um, anyway, so that's not the point. I'm just giving you a heads up that this is where I got some of my information from. So if some of it is incorrect, by all means, that's what the comment button is for. Feel free to use it and check whatever it is that I'm getting wrong. That's how we all learn. All right, let's get to the point. I had said that all of the things that he's doing, it's a display of a movie scene or something going on in the background, something huge, by the way. And the biggest part, and I talked about the pool, the reflecting pool, I talked about all this shit. And I was like, I'm telling you, like, it seems to be expanding, right? First, it was just the bunker and some of the little construction going on in the background. And then it started getting bigger. And, then it went to the pool. Then it went to the Lincoln Memorial. Now he's building an arch. It just keeps expanding in space, right? Not space, but yeah, you know what I mean. Anyway, so when I heard about the fireworks, and I brought it up on the 3rd because I was like, I want to pay attention to this part. So here's where we're going to get into super conspiracy, super nerd. That was the biggest display of fireworks in history, not in American history, in history, period. Right? And we already know who's got to be the guy to do it first. Okay. Keep in mind, everything that I lead up to with this is that something is still being built, something huge is still happening. Keep that in mind. So I wanted to find out exactly 850,000 fireworks. What could that possibly be in, explosives? Because they're explosives, right? So I wanted to find out if anything had happened like this before. And it did. Hold on one second. It did. I was trying to find out if it did, where was it, and how long ago was it? So, okay. So in Dubai, they spent over $50 million on displays and they launched 479,651 fireworks. And that was in 2013, right? What I kept trying to do is dissect exactly how many tons, kilotons, blah, blah, blah. You can't do that because it's based on the different types of fireworks. Like I learned a lot about fireworks today. So the different components that make fireworks depends on the colors. I didn't know that, right? So if you're watching this, hopefully if you're listening to this on the radio, try to watch the video portion because I'm going to display the little table that explains the different colors and then the kind of materials that are used for every single color, right? Which is great because, like I said, I didn't know that. But because we don't know which fireworks did what or how big was it more silver than red? All right, I digress. Anyway, so that's what had happened in Dubai. Remember, this is half. This is almost half of, or around the same thing, but double that we did here. Now, here's what happened when they did it. They did that in Dubai. So this is from an article called on Earth.org, and it says still up in the air the environmental impact of fireworks. It says chemicals from fireworks do not just disappear into thin air. When burned and exposed to oxygen, substances undergo a chemical reaction called combustion. This chemical reaction produces two results: short lived entertainment and toxic atmospheric pollutants. The temporary enjoyment of fireworks releases a host of contaminants to affect air quality and can contribute to climate change, including carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitrogen, sulfur dioxide, and particulate matter. This is about Dubai. During the 5 day celebration of Diwali in India, the world famous festival of lights, about 50,000 tons or 100 million pounds of fireworks explode, causing a toxic haze to cover cities. Toxic hazes, also known as particle pollutions, are created by particulate matter, also known as PM, a combination of minuscule solid and liquid substances found in the air and considered most hazardous air pollution due to its ability to affect people's lungs and heart, along with causing environmental damage. In the case of India, PM, which is particulate matter, found in the country's air increased up to 35 times on celebration days when fireworks were present compared to normal days. Specifically, the city of Delhi had the highest amount of particulate matter back in 2017 when fireworks were used during Diwali, with an hourly PM 2.5 concentration of 900. God only knows what that means. Anyway, now it's really getting real nerdy. So I'm not going to be able to get further than that. Anyway, my whole part with this is that this is the same thing that happened yesterday. So everybody was pretty much warned. If you got a chance to see it again, I didn't do anything for the fourth. I saw everything today. So you couldn't really see anything because it was covered in smoke. So even though we already understand now that the contamination in the air was horrific, and even though everybody is covering it, I want to get specific, okay? This isn't just dirty air. This is harming babies, pets, pregnant women, the elderly. This is doing it to everybody. When you just say, "Oh, it's fucking up the air," and you're not being specific, that there's newborn babies that live close to that area, and we need to figure out: are they being protected? Is it seeping through the windows? What's going on? You know what's going to happen? We're going to wind up finding weeks from now how many people were hospitalized, how many people are seeing long-term effects. That kind of stuff, that kind of smoke that comes out in your nose, you cough that stuff up. It's the same thing as being in a burning fire and the smoke getting into your lungs. On top of that, with all of that in the air, it started raining. So all of the stuff that was left in the air was pouring on top of people, on top of their homes, on their grass, everything. This is long term effects. Now, let's throw that out of the window now that we got that. I really, really, really had to try to find out how close I could get to explaining exactly what happened yesterday. Not just fireworks. It wasn't for the fireworks. It was for the explosions. So it says here the fireworks display in DC lasted approximately 40 to 45 minutes, right? And then it says the duration was more than double the length of typical annual displays, which usually last under 20 minutes. While some initial reports suggested a 17-minute show, official event timelines and live coverage confirmed the extended 40-minute runtime. 40 minutes. Okay. So I had, okay, I got to find this first. Okay. So it says, oh, no, no, no. Hold on. I'm not re recording this, by the way. You're going to hear me clicking, but I guarantee you it's because I'm looking for something very specific. Anyway, so it just so happens I had to try to add all of this up, right? I wanted to know what was the deal with the length of time, right? It wasn't just that we were doubling, tripling, quadrupling the amount of fireworks. It was about the extended amount of time that we were going to hear explosions. So, of course, I don't have it because, I'm looking for it. It was trying to explain that up to 345 fireworks had to go off every single second if it went to 40 or 40 over 40 minutes, right? Okay. I didn't know. I don't want to say don't ask me why I didn't know. Of course I didn't know. When you hear about fireworks, like I've seen them I think twice in New York City, in Manhattan. So it looks like it's always in one very particular area, right? Looks like, I mean, it has its length, but it's pretty much in the same spot. Well, that's not what happens when you have 850,000. Okay. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? Okay. Hold on. I want to make sure. So the standard conversion of 170,000 pounds. Now that's how much I was able to get when I put down how many seconds, how many fireworks had to go off in a certain amount of seconds, and then those minutes go into minutes, and then blah blah blah. So it wound up being 170,000 pounds, which it says a fireworks is approximately equal to 38 tons of TNT equivalent. Um, and again, that really does have something to do with the colors and the sizes and the types that he had. We're never going to know that. I think maybe the guys that put that there know. Okay. I will stick to this forever. And I want all of my shows to be able to be available so people clearly understood that I spotted this when I had the chance and then I spread the information. Okay. The fireworks went off in 10 areas. I don't know why I was so surprised by that. I don't know if you know that, but it's in 10 different spots. They spread it out completely because I was kind of wondering where would you put all of that? All right. You still here? Good. All right. Let's find out where these things were. There was 10 launch sites for the record-breaking July 4th, 2026 fireworks display in Washington, D.C. They were distributed across three primary locations. One, the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool, the West Potomac Park, and 8 barges on the Potomac River. Organized by Freedom 250, the event utilized these specific vantage points to fire approximately 850,000 shells during the Salute to America celebration. The Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool served as a central launch zone on the National Mall. The West Potomac Park provided grounds-based launch positions adjacent to the mall. And the Potomac, I know I'm saying that wrong probably, river barges, 8 distinct floating platforms, were positioned on the river to complete the 10-site configuration. The multi-site strategy allowed the spectacle to span a wide area, aiming to set a Guinness World Record for the largest fireworks display. Okay. Outside of the barges, outside of everything else, knowing that the one place that he's been bitching about, the one place that had the most recent construction, the one that people are getting arrested for touching the water, the one that's fenced up, the one that we have the National Guard and the military watching over, happened to be one of the central launch zones. Why? Because this is something huge. If they wanted to blow something up, if they wanted to open a vantage point, if they wanted to do something construction wise and they didn't want you to hear it, that's how you do it. You want to hear a funny way that people do stupid shit like that? You ever seen, and I don't know why fart jokes are funny to me, they're hilarious. That fake pets biting people, when it's like a cat comes and bites you and you not, and it looks fake as shit. I love shit like that. Anyway, it's like when somebody wants to cover up a fart and they cough. That is okay. That is what I think happened. I think the fireworks was a cough to cover up the fart, which is going to be when everything clears, when everything is said and done. The part that they had to worry about covering up the most would have been that noise, would have been that destruction, would have been that smoke. You can't blow shit up without it. You can't. He would have never been able to pull that off. And I know you can hear this still doing that shit where I live. It's 10 o'clock at night. Uh, yeah. So you can't, he wouldn't have been able to pull that off and then say, oh, it was just, a tractor that kind of exploded that was working on the arch. No, 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 no. There was no way to cover that up. That reminded me of the towers. That's what that reminded me of. That's exactly what it reminded me of when I saw it. It took time for the dust to settle. There's no way to distinguish. Well, I mean, maybe a scientist is listening to the show and could, try to do it. Maybe we can get some of that air and find out what else might have been mixed in it. Because apparently, the whole thing about the fireworks is they all have very particular things. So, with that being said, hold on. Okay, this is going to sound really, really weird. But it says that if we assume a conservative ratio where 10 to 20% of the weight is active explosive, similar to black powder or low grade pyrotechnic composition, the TNT equivalent drops to approximately 3.8 to 7.6 tons of TNT. Comparison. For context, this is significantly less than the 15 to 20 kilotons of the atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but far greater than the 200 to 300 tons of TNT equivalent estimated for the Beirut port explosion. And this is me asking the conversion, the standard conversion, the firework composition, and the estimated yield, and then the comparison of 170,000 pounds of fireworks, right? And what did I say? It equals to 38 tons of TNT equivalent. In the beginning of this, I explained how I came up with that number, 170,000. It was based on how many seconds, how many fireworks would have had to go off every single second, and then add up the minutes, and then add up the over 40, and then come up with how many pounds. And this is an estimation. Again, I'm not a math nerd. If there's a math nerd out there, we need to talk because I'm sure some of this is super weird. But I just wanted to explain that fireworks is just pretty, but fireworks is pyrotechnics. It's TNT, it's gunpowder, it's all of those things. If you ever had even a bottle rocket, you understand that it's pretty and that it goes out of nowhere and that it explodes and it could start a fire and it could blow shit up. Stuff is still getting built. This, to me, this was one of the final steps. 10 locations. Put it on a map. You know what I'm doing? I'm going to put it in a map and I'm going to put all of the locations that it was at. And we're going to see what that comes up with. I'm going to work on that because I think that this is super important. The fact that almost everything he's doing, all the concentrated nonsense and work that's failing and starting and failing, and millions of dollars being siphoned in all these different directions to build shit, and then nobody's doing it correctly. We need to find out where these different spots are and how big what's going on inside would be, right? So it's going to be a weird shape, but we got to find out what's inside of it, right? Why was the most important zone the one place we've been fighting about for weeks? If it was that bad, if he was worried about it being damaged, if we knew he had to refix it, why is he setting off fucking fireworks in it or around it? But it makes sense now, right? Evacuations, the explosions, um, bringing people back, and then arresting people and having people guard it, all of that. All right, I'm going to try and draw up the map for you. Check on the math. I did the best that I could. I wanted to explain to you that if you put every single thing together, the stuff that he's doing is massive. The people that are on his side are fully aware that everything is still in play. And it's time for us to start paying closer attention. I'm not saying to close your ears to everything, just clearly understand something big, something big. He's going all out. And this was a fantastic opportunity. I've been telling you guys for months the 4th of July is going to be fucking huge. And it was. And it was. Don't think that because something horrible like an attack didn't happen, that that's not what it was. No, it was still huge. We're sitting and we're laughing and ha ha ha. Nah, nah. I've been watching it all day. And I was like, nope, fuck that. The explosion, that's a thing. That's a thing. So I came as close as I possibly could to the TNT equivalent. Okay, I love you guys. I'm gonna try to come up with the map. Don't forget, if you're watching this, I am gonna put the composition of all of the different. Hold on, because I have it here. So this is the compound, the compounds of each. So I'm gonna have it with the color producers, the fuel, which is the potassium nitrate, the charcoal, the sulfur, which is the gunpowder composition, the oxidizer, the binder, and the chlorine donor. And it's going to tell you red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, silver, white. Okay. So I will talk to you guys later. Like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment. All right. I'm going to literally talk to you guys soon. I'm going to work on that map, like probably right this second, so I can get that out of the way. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.